Imagine you are standing at the edge of a vast ocean, the waves constantly crashing, swirling, and pulling at the shore. In the midst of all this noise and chaos, you feel a deep, unshakable calm within you. What if, just like that ocean, your mind could be still? What if, instead of being tossed around by the turbulence of life, you could find peace in every moment, no matter what life throws your way? Do you ever feel like your mind is constantly racing, overwhelmed by endless thoughts? Do you find it difficult to focus, to truly live in the present because your mind is always on autopilot, running through a never-ending list of worries and distractions? How often do you catch yourself reacting to life instead of responding thoughtfully? What if you could quiet that inner noise just for a moment and experience a deep sense of peace? What if you could access that stillness whenever you needed it, no matter where you are or what you're facing? Take a moment and think about it. When was the last time you truly sat in silence, with no distractions, no pressure, and just breathed? Can you imagine the clarity and strength that would come from cultivating that kind of peace within yourself every day? Welcome to Wisdom Writings, where we explore life-changing thoughts that can transform your reality. In this video series, we will dive deep into Zen, Buddhism, and the powerful teachings that can quiet your mind and bring you true freedom. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more insights. There's so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% of you subscribe. Please help us grow by joining our community, and feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments below. The idea of a still mind might seem distant, almost impossible, but it is closer than you think. Let's begin the journey of discovering how stillness can become your gateway to freedom. Letting go, the power of non-attachment in a chaotic world. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. You're not your possessions. You're not your job, your house, your status, or your relationships. These things are important, yes, but they do not define who you are. They do not hold your essence. The true essence of you lies in something deeper. And that something is your ability to let go. Imagine holding a cup in your hand. You grip it tightly, and it feels safe. But what happens if your grip becomes too tight? The cup might break. It's the same with life. When we hold on too tightly to things, people, or even our own ideas and expectations, we risk breaking. We risk losing ourselves in the process. But when we learn to let go, to release that tension, we allow space for new things to enter. We allow peace to settle into our hearts. In the Zen tradition, letting go is not about giving up. It's about freeing yourself from the illusion of control. We live in a world that thrives on control, on the desire to possess, to conquer, to own. But the truth is, control is an illusion. The more we try to control, the more we suffer. Life is unpredictable, it's fluid, and will never bend to our will in the way we might hope. Do you find yourself clinging to things? Maybe it's a past mistake, a regret, a fear, or even a person you can't let go of. We all have things that weigh us down, but holding on to them only creates more suffering. The practice of non-attachment is not about disconnecting from life or becoming indifferent. It's about realizing that nothing in this world is permanent, and therefore, nothing should be held too tightly. Think about the moments in your life where you've been frustrated or angry. More often than not, those emotions come from the fact that something didn't go the way you wanted. Maybe it was a conversation that didn't go well, a situation that didn't unfold as planned, or a person who didn't act as you expected. You felt attached to the outcome, and when that outcome didn't match your desires, you suffered. Now, picture the opposite, a life where you learn to let go. A life where you accept things as they are, without trying to change them or control them. A life where you let go of the need for everything to be perfect. In that life, there's peace. There's freedom. You no longer need to hold on to things to find happiness. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you give up on your dreams, your goals, or your relationships. It means that you stop clinging so tightly to them. You let life unfold naturally. When you stop grasping for something, you allow it to come to you freely, without resistance. Zen teaches us that attachment is the root of suffering. The more we cling to things, whether they are physical possessions, past experiences, or even emotions, the more we bind ourselves to a cycle of wanting and disappointment. True freedom comes when we learn to release that grip and trust that life will provide what we need when we need it. It's like a leaf floating on a river, letting the current carry it along. It doesn't fight the water, it simply flows with it. Have you ever noticed how children are naturally detached? They play with a toy, and if they lose it, they don't get upset. They simply move on to something else. It's not because they don't care. It's because they don't hold on to things the way adults do. They live in the present moment, without the weight of attachment. It's a quality we all have, but as we grow older, we begin to hold on more tightly. The Zen practice reminds us that we can return to that state of innocence, where we don't need to possess anything to feel complete. In our modern world, we are bombarded with messages that tell us we need more. More possessions, more success, more validation. But these things can never give us lasting happiness. They are temporary, fleeting. When we learn to let go of our attachment to these external things, we make space for something more profound, inner peace. Imagine, just for a moment, that you let go of the need for approval. Let go of the need to be perfect. Let go of the need to prove your worth to others. In that space, what would you discover about yourself? What would happen if you stopped trying to be everything for everyone? What would life look like if you embraced the freedom that comes from letting go? The practice of letting go is not a one-time event. It's a daily practice. It's something you must choose each moment, each time you feel yourself becoming attached to an outcome. And it's not always easy. We are human, and we are conditioned to cling to things. But the more we practice, the easier it becomes. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop trying to control. Think about your attachments. Where are they? What do you hold on to so tightly that it's causing you pain? Maybe it's a dream that didn't come true, a person who has hurt you, or a fear of the future. These things are weighing you down, keeping you from experiencing the fullness of life. But the truth is, you don't have to carry them anymore. You can choose to let go. The Zen path is about embracing life as it comes, without trying to control it. It's about releasing the need to hold on and trusting that everything will unfold in its own time. This doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent. It means you let go of the weight of attachment and allow yourself to flow with life, rather than against it. So, I invite you to ask yourself, what would happen if you let go of one thing today? Just one thing that has been holding you back, weighing you down. Let go. Feel the relief, the lightness that comes with it. And as you continue on this journey, remember that letting go is not a weakness. It is a strength. It is the path to true freedom. By letting go, you free yourself from the illusion that happiness can be found in things outside of yourself. You stop seeking happiness in possessions, in people, or in achievements, and you start to find it within. That is the true power of non-attachment. It is the key to a peaceful, fulfilling life. As you move forward, keep this in mind. The more you let go, the more you make space for life to fill you with joy, wisdom, and peace. In releasing what no longer serves you, you make room for what truly matters. And in that space, you will discover that the most beautiful things in life are not the things we hold on to, but the things we let go of. Emptiness is fullness, understanding the Zen paradox. In Zen, we speak of emptiness, and it is often misunderstood. We hear the word emptiness, and immediately we think of something that is lacking, something missing. But this is not the emptiness that Zen refers to. In Zen, emptiness is not a void, nor is it a space that is incomplete. Rather, it is a fullness that is beyond our ordinary way of understanding. It is a space that allows for everything to arise and fall away freely without attachment. It is the vast openness of the universe itself, where everything exists and nothing is held onto. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a cup in your hand. The cup is made of clay, shaped into form, and it holds water. But what is it that actually makes the cup useful? It is the empty space inside the cup. Without that emptiness, the cup would have no purpose, no function. The emptiness within the cup is not something to be feared or avoided. It is the very thing that gives the cup its power. This is the essence of Zen. Emptiness is not to be feared. It is the gateway to freedom. When we let go of the idea that emptiness is something negative, we can begin to see it for what it truly is, a space of possibility. In this space, everything exists, and yet nothing is fixed. It is like the sky, vast, open, and unchanging, while the clouds come and go. Our minds are often filled with thoughts, desires, and attachments. We fill them with worry about the future, regret about the past, and fear of what might come. These thoughts are like the clouds in the sky, constantly shifting and changing. But just like the sky, our true nature is vast and clear. When we allow ourselves to experience emptiness, we stop clinging to these fleeting thoughts and emotions. We stop filling our minds with unnecessary distractions, and we begin to see the world as it truly is: beautiful, simple, and free. The paradox here is that by letting go of our attachments, by emptying ourselves of all the things we think we need, we become fuller. We become more present. We begin to experience life with a depth and richness that we never knew was possible. The more we empty ourselves, the more space there is for life to fill us with wisdom, peace, and clarity. Consider a garden. When you plant seeds in the soil must first be empty in order to receive the seeds. The emptiness of the soil is not a void. It is a fertile ground where life can grow. The seeds, when planted, fill the soil with life. But if the soil were already filled with stones or weeds, there would be no room for the seeds to take root and grow. In the same way, when we empty our minds of the clutter and distractions of daily life, we create space for wisdom and understanding to take root. The idea of emptiness is also deeply connected to the concept of non-attachment. Zen teaches us that attachment to things, ideas, and even people causes suffering. When we cling to something, we create resistance to the flow of life. We hold on to things that are impermanent, and in doing so, we prevent ourselves from experiencing true freedom. Emptiness, in this sense, is not a lack, but a release from the need to hold on, to control, or to possess. When we let go of our attachments, we are not left with nothing. Instead, we open ourselves to the full potential of life. We begin to see that everything is connected, that all things are in a constant state of change, and that nothing lasts forever. This understanding allows us to move through life with greater ease and peace. We no longer grasp at the fleeting moments of joy or sadness, but instead, we learn to simply be present with them as they come and go. In Zen, we often speak of the concept of mu, which means nothingness or no thing. But this nothingness is not a vacuum. It is the place where everything arises. It is the source of all things, the ground of being. When we experience this emptiness, we are not experiencing a lack. We are experiencing the fullness of life itself. To truly understand emptiness, we must also understand the impermanence of all things. Everything in this world is constantly changing. Our thoughts, our emotions, our bodies, and even the world around us are in a state of flux. Nothing stays the same. And yet, this impermanence is not something to be feared or resisted. It is a natural part of life. The more we embrace the impermanence of all things, the more we can live fully in the present moment. Emptiness teaches us to let go of our attachments to permanence. We cannot hold on to anything forever. But instead of fearing this, we can find freedom in it. When we release our attachments to the idea of permanence, we become open to the richness of each moment. We can experience life with greater clarity, knowing that everything is always in motion, always changing, and always unfolding in its own perfect time. In the end, emptiness is not a concept that can be fully grasped by the mind. It is something that must be experienced directly through practice and awareness. It is a shift in perspective, a way of seeing the world not as a series of fixed objects or static truths, but as a dynamic flow of energy and possibility. When we look at the world through the lens of emptiness, we see that everything is interconnected, that all things are temporary, and that true freedom comes from letting go. We stop clinging to the things that no longer serve us, and we open ourselves to the beauty and wisdom that arises when we allow life to unfold naturally. This understanding of emptiness is not about becoming detached or indifferent. It is about experiencing life more fully. It is about being present with each moment, without the burden of expectations or attachments. It is about letting go of the need to control and instead trusting in the flow of life. So, in the next moment, when you feel the urge to grasp at something, whether it is a thought, a desire, or a judgment, remember the lesson of emptiness. Release it. Let it go. And in that release, you will find freedom. You will find the fullness that comes from living without attachment. You will find peace in the midst of change. You will discover that true richness lies not in what you possess, but in what you are willing to let go of. The present moment, where life actually happens. The present moment, the here and now, is the only place where life truly unfolds. Imagine your entire life was contained in a single breath, a breath that is now. Everything you've ever experienced, everything you will experience, exists in the eternal present. And yet, how often do you spend your days caught up in regrets of the past or worries about the future? How often do you forget that the only true reality you can touch, feel, and experience is this very moment? We live in a world that demands our attention to things that have already passed or things that have yet to come. But the moment we are in right now is fleeting, yet is the only one that is real. Think about it. The past is a memory, a shadow of what once was, and the future is an unknown, a story yet to be written. But the present, this very second, is your life unfolding. It is the canvas where your thoughts, actions, and feelings come together, creating the masterpiece of your existence. Yet, so many of us spend our lives waiting for something more, something better, or something different, all the while the present slips through our fingers like sand. Now, close your eyes for a moment and feel your breath. Inhale slowly, deeply, and feel the air filling your lungs. Exhale gently, and as you do, notice how everything around you becomes silent, still. In that moment, you are no longer in the past, nor are you in the future. You're simply here, breathing, existing. This is the power of the present moment. It is always available, always within reach, and yet we overlook it. We seek peace, joy, and meaning in things that are far away from us, outside of us, when in reality, all of it is right here, right now. Zen teaches us that to experience life fully, we must stop looking elsewhere for peace or happiness. We must embrace the present as it is. The moment you stop searching, you begin to find. You start noticing the small things, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the rustle of leaves in the wind, the simple joy of being alive. But in order to see these things, you must let go of the constant need for more, for different. You must accept this moment as enough, because in truth it is. But how often do we forget to live in the present? How many times do we find ourselves lost in thought, drifting away from the life we are actually living? We are constantly thinking, planning, anticipating, and worrying. But in doing so, we miss the precious moments that are unfolding around us. The truth is, We are never more alive than when we are fully present, fully aware of the world around us. When we truly pay attention, we begin to realize how beautiful life is, how full of meaning, even in the most ordinary things. When was the last time you simply sat, without a plan, without an agenda, and observed the world around you? When was the last time you took a moment to listen to the sounds of the birds, the rustling of the trees, or the gentle hum of life? In those moments, you are not thinking about the past, and you are not worrying about the future. You are simply here, fully engaged in the present. And in that moment, you experience life as it truly is. The Buddha often spoke about mindfulness, paying attention to the present moment with full awareness and without judgment. Mindfulness is not something you have to work hard for, but rather something you must remember to bring to your attention. It is the simple act of being aware of what is happening right now, whether it's the sensation of your feet on the ground, the taste of your food, or the thoughts passing through your mind. When you live with mindfulness, you stop rushing through life. You stop living as if there is some destination you must reach in order to be happy or fulfilled. You realize that the destination has always been here in the now. Living in the present moment means letting go of expectations. Expectations create a future that may never arrive, and in doing so, they rob you of the chance to experience life as it truly is. We often expect things to be different, better, or more exciting, but in doing so, we miss the richness of the present moment. When you let go of these expectations, you free yourself to truly experience life as it comes, without resistance, without desire for something else. This doesn't mean that you stop planning or working for the future. It simply means that you no longer let the future control your present. You no longer live for the day that will come, but rather, you live for today. You become fully engaged in what is in front of you, knowing that by doing so, you are living a life of purpose and fulfillment. In Zen, there's a concept called Zazen, which is sitting meditation. But Zazen is not just about sitting in a quiet room, away from distractions. It is about bringing your full attention to the present moment, no matter where you are or what you're doing. Whether you're walking, eating, working, or speaking, Zazen teaches you to focus on the task at hand with full awareness. It is about being present in every action, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem. When you practice living in the present, you begin to notice how much time you spend lost in thought, not paying attention to the life happening around you. But when you start to bring your awareness back to the moment, you begin to see life with new eyes. You start to notice the beauty in the simplest things, like the way the light falls on a leaf or the way your body moves with each breath. You start to appreciate life for what it is, not for what you think it should be. The present moment is always available to you. It doesn't matter where you are, who you're with, or what you're doing. You always have the ability to return to the now. And when you do, you will find that life becomes richer, deeper, and more fulfilling. You will realize that the key to peace, joy, and freedom is not somewhere far off, but right here in the present. All it takes is your willingness to be fully present, to embrace this moment with open arms, and to see it for the miracle that it truly is. In the end, the present moment is where life happens. It is where you find peace. It is where you experience love. And it is where you discover the truth of who you are. The past is gone. The future is yet to come. But the present is all we truly have. And when we live in it fully, we discover the greatest gift of all, life itself. The beginner's mind, unlearning to discover truth. In Zen, there's a beautiful concept called the beginner's mind. It's the idea that no matter how much we think we know, there's always more to learn. It's the ability to approach life with a fresh perspective, free from the biases and assumptions that cloud our understanding. Imagine for a moment that you're seeing the world for the very first time. What would it be like to let go of everything you think you know and look at life with childlike wonder? Every time you learn something, you carry a certain weight with you. It's the weight of your experiences, your beliefs, and your opinions. Over time, these accumulate, and they form a lens through which you see the world. But what happens when that lens becomes so fogged up by past experiences that you can no longer see clearly? You might be looking at the world through a lens of past hurt or one filled with expectations. In doing so, you miss the beauty and simplicity of what's right in front of you. The beginner's mind invites us to clear that lens. It asks us to unlearn what we think we know so that we can approach life without prejudice. It's about looking at things without assuming we understand them. It's the ability to see a flower as if we've never seen one before. Each petal a miracle, each color a new discovery. It's to breathe in the air around us and experience it without judgment or attachment. This doesn't mean forgetting everything you've learned. It means allowing yourself to embrace each moment as new. The beginner's mind teaches us to step away from the limitations we place on ourselves and instead open up to what is possible. When you approach life with a beginner's mind, you become open to wonder. Every interaction, every moment becomes an opportunity for discovery. You stop seeing things as they are through your own preconceived notions, and instead, you begin to see things as they truly are. In daily life, how often do we make assumptions? How often do we think we already know how something will turn out? It's easy to slip into that mindset, thinking that because we've been through similar situations before, we can predict what will happen next. But life is far too complex and too beautiful to be boiled down to simple expectations. When you approach each day with fresh eyes, you begin to notice things you missed before. You start to see the subtle details, the way light falls on a leaf, the sound of a bird singing early in the morning, the way a stranger smiles at you. When you adopt the beginner's mind, you let go of certainty. You become less attached to knowing the outcome and more open to what is unfolding in front of you. This doesn't mean you become naive or unprepared for the challenges of life. Rather, it means you approach each challenge with an openness to learning, growing, and discovering what lies beyond your initial expectations. This is incredibly freeing. When we let go of the need to be experts, when we stop clinging to what we think we know, we become more adaptable. We become like water, flowing smoothly around obstacles instead of rigidly trying to control everything. Life, after all, is not meant to be controlled. It is meant to be experienced. Think about the last time you felt truly alive, truly present in the moment. Chances are, it was when you were deeply engaged in something new or unfamiliar. Perhaps it was a conversation with someone you just met, or maybe it was an activity that pushed you outside your comfort zone. In those moments, you didn't have all the answers, but you were completely present, and that allowed you to experience life in a richer, more meaningful way. The beginner's mind also helps us overcome the trap of perfectionism. How many times have you hesitated to start something new because you were afraid of making a mistake? How many opportunities have you passed up because you didn't feel ready or because you thought you needed to have all the answers? The beginner's mind shows us that it's okay to start from scratch, to be imperfect, to learn as we go. It is through those mistakes that we grow. It is through those failures that we find our way. In Zen practice, this is why beginners are often seen as having an advantage. They are not weighed down by the burden of knowledge. They are free to ask questions, to make mistakes, and to explore without fear. There's no need to pretend to know something that we don't. Instead, we can just show up and be present, open to whatever comes our way. This is a shift in mindset that can transform your entire approach to life. It's about letting go of the ego's need to be seen as competent, successful, or knowledgeable. It's about dropping the walls we've built around ourselves and embracing the world with the same curiosity and wonder we had as children. In our daily lives, we can practice the beginner's mind in simple ways. Next time you walk into a room, notice how it feels as if you've never been there before. Take in the sights, sounds, and smells with fresh awareness. If you're having a conversation with someone, listen as if you've never heard their voice before. Approach tasks with openness, whether it's something you've done 100 times or something entirely new. Allow yourself to be surprised, to learn, to grow. When we approach life with a beginner's mind, we stop seeing obstacles as threats and start seeing them as opportunities to learn. We let go of the fear of failure and embrace the adventure of discovery. And in doing so, we free ourselves from the heavy burden of expectations and open up to a life of endless possibilities. There's a certain magic in starting fresh, in seeing the world as if for the first time. Life is not meant to be a series of repetitive tasks or predictable outcomes. It is meant to be an ongoing exploration, a journey of learning, growth, and transformation. When you allow yourself to adopt the beginner's mind, you invite that magic back into your life. You begin to see things not as they are, but as they could be. And in that space of openness, you discover not only the world around you, but also the world within. Suffering, desire, and the way out. A Zen perspective. In the stillness of the mind, there's a deep understanding that transcends the noise of our everyday existence. One of the most fundamental truths in Zen and in life itself is this: suffering is an inevitable part of the human experience. It's not a question of whether we will face suffering, but when and how. Yet, Zen offers us a path to navigate this suffering, a way to find peace even in the most painful of moments. And it all begins with understanding desire. Desire is the root of most of our suffering. We want more than what we have. We crave things, whether material or emotional, that we believe will fill a void. We think that happiness lies in acquiring something, whether it's a new possession, a new relationship, or a new experience. And yet, no matter how much we acquire, that sense of fulfillment is always fleeting. We become trapped in an endless cycle of wanting, grasping, and being disappointed when we don't receive what we desire or when we lose what we have gained. The Buddha taught that desire is the cause of suffering. This isn't to say that desiring things is inherently wrong, but rather that our attachment to our desires is what causes us pain. We think that fulfillment lies in the next thing we want, and so we chase it endlessly. But when we don't get what we want, or when we lose it, we experience suffering. This cycle continues because, in our minds, happiness is always just one more desire away. But what if we could break free from this cycle? What if we could learn to let go of the constant cravings that lead us to suffer? What if, instead of reaching for the next thing, we could find contentment right here, right now? This is where Zen comes in. Zen teaches us to observe our desires, not as something to be eliminated or suppressed, but as something to be understood. When we feel the pull of desire, we don't react to it automatically. Instead, we pause. We observe the desire as it arises, without judgment, without urgency. And in that pause, we create space. Space to question whether this desire is truly necessary, or if it's just a passing thought, a fleeting want. By observing our desires in this way, we begin to see them for what they truly are: temporary, often irrational, and ultimately unsatisfying. The more we practice this mindfulness, the more we begin to detach ourselves from the need to fulfill every craving that arises. We learn that true peace isn't found in obtaining more, but in being content with what is already present. But what about suffering? If desire is the root of suffering, how do we overcome the pain we experience in life? The answer is not to try to escape suffering, but to change our relationship with it. Zen teaches us that suffering is a natural part of life. We will all experience loss, disappointment, and pain. But rather than resisting it, Zen encourages us to face our suffering head-on, with acceptance and equanimity. When we stop fighting against the suffering, we stop adding extra layers of pain on top of it. We stop making the pain worse with our thoughts, our judgments, and our resistance. Instead of viewing suffering as something to be avoided or feared, we learn to see it as a teacher. Suffering shows us where we are attached, where we are holding on too tightly, and where we need to let go. In Zen, we are taught to embrace the present moment, no matter what it brings. This includes the moments of joy, of course, but also the moments of pain. It is through accepting and being present with our suffering that we can begin to free ourselves from it. We don't have to run from our pain, and we don't have to numb ourselves to it. By simply sitting with it, by observing it without judgment, we begin to loosen the grip that suffering has on us. It's important to remember that this doesn't mean we become passive or indifferent to life's challenges. Zen doesn't teach us to ignore the pain, but to experience it fully and without resistance. By allowing ourselves to feel the pain, without trying to escape or avoid it, we begin to see it for what it is, a part of the natural ebb and flow of life. And when we do that, we no longer let suffering control us. There's a great freedom in this. When we stop trying to control every aspect of our lives, when we stop clinging to our desires, we allow ourselves to be free. We no longer live in constant fear of losing what we have or not getting what we want. Instead, we find a deep peace in simply being with what is, right here, right now. This is the Zen perspective on suffering and desire. It's not about avoiding suffering, but about transforming our relationship with it. It's not about eliminating desire, but about learning to let go of the attachment to it. And in doing so, we find a way out of the endless cycle of craving and suffering. We discover a life of true freedom. Freedom from the endless chase for something more, freedom from the pain of wanting and not having, and freedom from the suffering that comes from resisting what is. So, the next time you feel a strong desire rise within you, instead of immediately acting on it, take a moment to pause. Observe it. See it for what it truly is. Is it necessary? Is it fleeting? Can you be content without it? In that moment of pause, you create the space for peace. And in that peace, you begin to free yourself from the chains of desire, one moment at a time. This is the way out of suffering, not through the accumulation of more, but through the deep, profound practice of letting go. Letting go of the need to control, of the need to possess, and of the need to constantly chase after the next thing. In doing so, we find that what we truly seek is already here, right in front of us in the stillness of the moment. No self, seeing through the illusion of identity. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered who you truly are? Not the role you play in society, not the job you have, or the relationships you're in, but who are you at your core? Have you ever sat quietly alone and asked yourself, what am I really? Most of us live our lives with a sense of identity that feels solid, unchangeable, and real. We are our names, our jobs, our memories. We identify with our successes and failures, with the image we project to others, and with the thoughts that pass through our minds. We feel like we are the sum of all these things. But here's the truth. None of these things are who you really are. In Zen, there's a teaching that says the self is an illusion. It's not that you don't exist. It's that the self you cling to is a story you've been telling yourself. It's a collection of thoughts, labels, and experiences that you've attached to yourself. But none of it is the true essence of who you are. This idea can be difficult to grasp at first. After all, we've been taught to identify ourselves by the roles we play in life, and to see those roles as defining who we are. But in reality, those roles are just fleeting parts of a much bigger picture. Think about it. Who were you before you had a name? Before you took on the labels of son, daughter, worker, or friend? Were you still you? Who are you when you're not thinking? Who are you when your thoughts quiet down, when the noise of your mind settles? The Zen masters speak of no self, or anatta, which means the absence of a permanent, unchanging self. What this means is that the idea of who you are is fluid, ever-changing, and not fixed. The person you were yesterday is not the same as the person you are today. Your thoughts, feelings, and experiences change constantly. So how can you truly say that you're the same person at all times? We often define ourselves by our past, the mistakes we've made, the regrets we carry, the triumphs we've had. But all of that is just part of the river of life. The river is constantly flowing, and the water that touches the shore at one moment is gone the next. Just as you can never step into the same river twice, you can never step into the same self twice. The self you were a moment ago is no longer the self you are now. When we let go of the attachment to this idea of a permanent self, we can start to experience life more fully without the burden of identity weighing us down. We can embrace the reality of constant change and impermanence. We can see that who we are is not fixed, and that we are not limited by any role or label. This realization can bring great freedom. Imagine the freedom of not being bound by your past, by your achievements, or by your failures. Imagine being able to simply exist without the need to prove anything or live up to anyone's expectations. Imagine living in the moment, without the weight of your identity constantly pulling you in different directions. It's not easy to let go of the idea of the self. For most of us, it's all we've known. But when we begin to question it, to sit quietly and observe the mind, we begin to see that the self is not as solid as it seems. It's a fluid, ever-changing process. There's no need to cling to it, because it's already constantly changing on its own. One of the most powerful practices in Zen is meditation. Meditation helps us to step outside of the mind and observe our thoughts and emotions without identifying with them. When we meditate, we start to see that the thoughts and feelings that arise are just that, thoughts and feelings. They come and go, but they don't define us. We are the awareness behind them, the observer, not the thought itself. In the same way, we can observe our sense of self. We can see the thoughts and ideas we have about who we are, but we don't have to believe them. We can simply let them arise and pass away without clinging to them. When we do this, we begin to realize that our true nature is not the collection of thoughts and ideas about ourselves. Our true nature is the awareness that is always present, the consciousness that is witnessing all of this. This realization can be deeply liberating. It frees us from a need to protect a fragile sense of identity. It frees us from the fear of loss, because we understand that we are not defined by anything that can be lost. We are not our possessions, our roles, our past, or our future. We are the present moment, the awareness that is always here, always now. When we see through the illusion of the self, we also begin to see through the illusion of separation. The belief in a solid, unchanging self creates a sense of separation between us and others. We think we are separate from the world around us, that we're distinct from the people we interact with. But when we understand that the self is an illusion, we begin to realize that we are not separate at all. We are all interconnected, flowing together like the river of life. This doesn't mean that we cease to exist as individuals, but rather that we see ourselves as part of the larger whole. We no longer cling to the idea of being separate, isolated beings. Instead, we experience life with a sense of unity, understanding that we are all part of the same flow. We begin to see that others are not so different from us. They're also part of the same river, flowing through life in their own unique way. In this way, the Zen teaching of no self is not about denying who you are, but about letting go of the need to cling to a fixed, limited sense of identity. It's about seeing through the illusion of separation and realizing that you are part of something much bigger than yourself. When you let go of the false self, you can begin to experience life more deeply. You're no longer trapped by the stories you tell yourself about who you are. You are free to simply be, to experience the world as it is, without the filters of judgment, expectation, or identity. You are free to flow with life, to accept the changes and challenges that come your way, knowing that they are not defining you. but are simply part of the journey. This is the power of seeing through the illusion of the self. It's a deep realization that can bring peace, freedom, and clarity. It's a freedom that comes from knowing you're not the thoughts in your head, not the roles you play, and not the past you carry with you. You are the awareness behind it all, and that awareness is vast, boundless, and ever-present. So, take a moment to sit with this idea. Reflect on the question, who are you really? Not the person you think you are, but the true self beyond the stories and labels. And as you sit with that question, allow yourself to let go of the need for answers. Simply rest in the awareness that you are. And in that stillness, you may come to realize that there is no you to find, because you have always been the one who is aware of everything else. And in that realization, you will find peace. Zen in action, mindfulness in everyday tasks. In Zen, there is a belief that every action, no matter how small or ordinary, can be an opportunity for mindfulness. We often think of meditation as something that requires a special place, a quiet room, or a moment of peace. But Zen teaches us that true meditation is not limited to the cushion. It is an ongoing practice that can be lived in every moment of our day. The present moment is always available, no matter where we are or what we are doing. It is the gateway to freedom, and it is in the ordinary moments that we can find its profound power. When we wash our hands, how often are we truly present? When we eat, do we savor the taste or rush through the meal, thinking about what comes next? When we walk, do we pay attention to the feel of our feet on the ground, or do we simply move without noticing? Zen encourages us to bring awareness into these simple acts. Every task, no matter how small, is an opportunity to bring our full attention to the present. Imagine washing a dish. It might seem like the most mundane thing, but when you focus all your attention on it, when you feel the water, hear the sound of the dish being cleaned, notice the soap lathering, you begin to connect to something much deeper. You're not just washing a dish. You are participating in life. In that moment, the dish, the water, the soap, and you are all one. The experience is no longer separate from you. The moment becomes the practice. In Zen, this is known as mindful action. It is not about striving to do something perfectly. It is about being fully aware in the moment, without judgment or expectation. You do not need to change the world or perform great acts to achieve mindfulness. It is about being present in the simple things. This is where the real power lies. Think about how you feel when you rush through a task, when your mind is somewhere else, consumed by the worries of the day. It feels disconnected. You feel fragmented, scattered, as if part of you is always running ahead while the rest of you is left behind. Now, think about how it feels when you're truly present, when you are in the moment. The difference is vast. One brings stress, the other brings peace. But how do we cultivate this mindfulness? How do we bring our awareness into our daily lives when we are so often distracted, pulled in 1,000 directions at once? The answer lies in practice. Just like any other skill, mindfulness requires repetition. At first, it may feel awkward, even forced. But over time, as you bring your attention to the present moment more and more, it begins to become natural. You start to notice the beauty of the world around you in a way you never have before. You begin to see that life is not something that happens later, after all the important tasks are done. Life is happening right now. It's happening in the breath you just took. It's happening in the touch of your hands, the sound of your feet on the ground, the taste of your food. Zen also teaches us that there is no distinction between the sacred and the mundane. In our busy lives, we tend to compartmentalize everything. We have our work, our chores, our moments of relaxation, and our moments of worship or meditation. But Zen encourages us to see all these moments as interconnected. The practice of mindfulness is not confined to specific activities. It can be woven into every part of our life. Every moment becomes an opportunity to be fully present, to engage with life as it is, without separation. When you sit down to eat, be present with your meal. Take in the colors, the textures, the smells. Notice how the food nourishes your body. When you take a walk, feel the ground beneath your feet. Feel the air, the sunlight on your skin. When you are at work, bring your full attention to the task at hand. Don't worry about what comes next or what you should have done differently. Just be with the task. This practice of mindfulness is not about achieving something or getting somewhere. It is about realizing that, right here, right now, you are already enough. You are already complete. There is no need to be anyone else or do anything else. The moment you are in is perfect as it is. In the Zen tradition, there's a saying, when eating, eat. When walking, walk. When sitting, sit. It sounds simple, but it holds profound wisdom. Most of the time, we're either thinking about the past or worrying about the future. We rarely just do the thing we are doing. But Zen teaches us that when we can be fully present in the task at hand, we are more connected to life. And when we are connected to life, we experience its beauty and richness in ways we never thought possible. Mindfulness in action brings a deep sense of peace. When you're fully immersed in what you are doing, you're no longer divided. Your mind and body work as one. There is no tension, no inner conflict, just harmony. This is the gift of Zen in action. It shows us that we don't need to wait for a special moment or a quiet retreat to find peace. It's available to us right now, in every moment, in every action. So, the next time you find yourself washing a dish, walking to work, or even waiting in line, take a moment to stop and breathe. Feel the present moment. Experience it fully. Know that in that moment, you are not just passing time. You are living life as it was meant to be lived. The practice of mindfulness, when integrated into every aspect of our daily life, becomes the path to true freedom. Zen is not something we do on the side. It is not something we reserve for special moments. It is a way of living, a way of being. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we begin to see the world as it truly is, full of wonder, full of beauty, full of life. And in this way, Zen shows us that the most ordinary actions are, in fact, extraordinary. Death, impermanence, and the gift of now. There's something that we all know but rarely want to face. Life is fleeting. The clock is ticking, the seasons are changing, and everything around us is moving toward a future that none of us can predict. Death, that word we try to avoid, is the one certainty in this life. Yet, have you ever stopped to think about how this very certainty is also what makes life so precious? We spend so much of our time planning, worrying, striving, and dreaming about what is yet to come that we forget to truly experience what is happening right now. We are so caught up in the idea of permanence that we neglect the beauty of impermanence, the truth that everything changes and that this moment, right here, is all we ever truly have. Death teaches us one of the most powerful lessons in Zen, to live fully. It reminds us that nothing lasts forever, not our possessions, not our relationships, and not even ourselves. When we come face to face with the truth of our own mortality, we are given a unique opportunity. The opportunity to embrace life fully, without hesitation, without delay. The opportunity to stop waiting for the perfect moment that never comes and to live now, in the only moment that is guaranteed. Think about it. When was the last time you really felt alive? I mean, really alive in every sense of the word. When was the last time you stopped for a moment, without distractions, without the weight of the past or the future, and simply existed in the present? When we allow ourselves to be fully present, we are not just existing, we are truly living. We are experiencing the world with all our senses, with a depth that is only possible when we let go of the need to control everything. Death is a reminder that time is not infinite. The clock is ticking, and so often we waste it on things that don't matter. We waste time on regrets, on worries, on trying to prove ourselves to others, when the only thing that truly matters is how we live in this moment. The past is gone, and the future is yet to come. What we have is this breath, this heartbeat, this life unfolding in real time. Now, it might sound morbid to think about death so often, but in truth, it is one of the greatest teachers we have. It shows us how fragile everything is, how quickly things can change, and how little control we have over the big picture. But in that vulnerability, in that uncertainty, is where we find freedom. When we stop clinging to the illusion of permanence, we are able to embrace life just as it is. Zen teaches us that the present moment is all we have. In the stillness of now, we find everything we need. The past is a memory, and the future is a mystery. It's in the present that we find our power, our peace, and our connection to the world around us. When we allow ourselves to truly live in the present, we experience a kind of freedom that is impossible to describe. It is the freedom to simply exist without the constant pressure of what we should be doing or where we should be going. The awareness of death and impermanence also invites us to be more compassionate with ourselves and others. If we are truly aware of how fragile life is, how temporary our time here is, we're less likely to waste our energy on petty grudges, old resentments, or unrealistic expectations. Instead, we begin to value the moments we have with those we love. We start to appreciate the small things, the simple acts of kindness, the quiet moments of peace, the beauty of a sunset, or the sound of a child's laughter. In Zen, the practice of mindfulness is deeply connected to the awareness of death. When we practice mindfulness, we are fully present, aware that this moment, this breath, may be our last. It brings a deep sense of gratitude for the fleeting nature of life. Each moment becomes a gift, because we understand that we may never experience it again. Let go of the notion that you have forever to get things right. Stop postponing your dreams, your passions, and the things that truly matter. Life is not a rehearsal, and there are no second chances. Live as if every moment counts, because, in reality, it does. This awareness of impermanence also teaches us not to fear change. Change is inevitable, whether we like it or not. The seasons change, people change, our bodies change, and even our thoughts and feelings change. The key is to stop resisting it. Instead of fearing what we cannot control, we learn to flow with it. We embrace the natural ebb and flow of life. At the same time, we are not helpless in the face of death or impermanence. Zen teaches us that by living with awareness and intention, we can create meaning in each moment. It's not about avoiding the inevitable, but about embracing what is before us with full presence. Whether it's a difficult conversation, a challenging situation, or a simple act of kindness, we have the power to make each moment matter. When we realize that everything is impermanent, we begin to see life differently. We stop taking things for granted. We stop wasting time on things that don't matter. We start to focus on what truly brings us joy, peace, and fulfillment. We realize that every single moment, no matter how small, is a treasure. So, I ask you, what are you doing with your moments? Are you living fully, embracing each day as a gift? Or are you waiting for something else, something in the future, to happen before you can be truly happy, truly free? Remember, death is not something to fear. It's simply a part of life, and when we embrace it, we are free to live fully. The key is not in avoiding it, but in accepting it. And in accepting it, we find the freedom to live with greater purpose, greater clarity, and greater peace. Life is impermanent, and that is what makes it so precious. Embrace the impermanence, live fully in the now, and let each moment be a reminder of the preciousness of your existence. In the end, it's not the length of our lives that matters, but how deeply we lived in the moments we were given. Awakened living, the final realization and daily practice. Life, in its purest essence, is not about seeking or searching endlessly for answers. It is about discovering what is already within us. So much of our time is spent running after things that we believe will bring us peace or happiness, but the truth is, all of it is right here, right now. In this very moment, everything we need to live a peaceful, meaningful life is already within us. We only need to awaken to it. To awaken is to recognize that the struggle we often face is not caused by the world outside, but by the beliefs and attachments we hold inside. The way we perceive reality, the stories we tell ourselves, and the judgments we make about life are the true sources of our suffering. The moment we let go of these, a vast space of freedom opens up where we can truly experience life as it is, unfiltered and unclouded. Imagine, for a moment, waking up each day with a clear mind and a quiet heart. Imagine waking up without the burden of expectations, without the endless pressure to meet goals or fulfill desires that never seem to be enough. What would it feel like to simply be present with yourself, with life, and with everything around you, without needing anything to change? The truth is, it feels like freedom. It feels like peace. It feels like the greatest gift you could ever give yourself. But here's the catch. This peace, this freedom, doesn't come from avoiding or rejecting life. It comes from embracing life as it is, in all of its messiness, unpredictability, and impermanence. This is what Zen teaches us. True peace is not found by escaping from the world, but by fully entering it. We are not separate from life. We are not separate from the people we encounter, from the experiences that shape us, or from the world that surrounds us. Everything is interconnected. When we realize this, when we see that we are part of something far greater than ourselves, we stop fighting against life. We stop resisting the natural flow of things. We stop trying to control what cannot be controlled. Instead, we allow life to unfold as it will, and we trust that everything is happening for a reason, even if we don't fully understand it. Awakened living is not about a dramatic shift or a grand revelation. It is about small, daily practices that slowly, over time, help us remember who we truly are. It's about letting go of the endless stream of thoughts and judgments that cloud our minds, and instead, simply being with what is. It's about practicing mindfulness in each moment, no matter how mundane or ordinary. The Zen teachings encourage us to find mindfulness in everything we do, from the way we walk, to the way we breathe, to the way we interact with others. Every moment is an opportunity to awaken, to be present, to connect with life as it truly is. The secret is to stop waiting for some external event or achievement to bring us peace. Peace is not a destination. It is a way of living. One of the most important realizations in Zen is that there is no final destination. There is no end to the journey of awakening. It's a continual process of letting go, of seeing more clearly, and of becoming more fully present in each moment. And as we walk this path, we come to understand that true freedom is not the absence of challenges or suffering, but the ability to remain at peace even in the face of them. Think about it. When we stop trying to control every aspect of our lives, when we stop clinging to what we think should be, we open ourselves up to the possibility of life as it is. We stop living in the future or the past, and we start living in the now. And in the now, everything is perfect. Everything is just as it should be. This is what Zen teaches us, that peace and joy are not somewhere out there waiting for us to find them. They are here in the present moment, waiting for us to realize them. The challenge is not to go out and achieve something, but to stop, breathe, and simply be. To notice the beauty in the ordinary, the miracles in the mundane, and the peace in the present. And this is where the true practice begins. It's not enough to just understand these concepts intellectually. We must live them. We must practice them in our daily lives, in every interaction, every breath, every step. It's about turning our awareness inward and noticing how we react to the world around us. Are we acting out of habit, out of conditioning, or are we responding with mindfulness and presence? The path of Zen is not about perfection. It's not about doing everything right or being a perfect person. It's about being aware of our imperfections, accepting them, and learning from them. It's about embracing the mystery of life and the uncertainty of our journey. It's about trusting that, no matter what happens, we are exactly where we need to be. Awakened living is about embracing the fullness of life, including the challenges, the uncertainties, and the imperfections. It's about living with an open heart, without fear or judgment, and being fully present with whatever arises. And in that presence, we find the freedom to be who we truly are. The final realization of Zen is simple, but profound. Life is not something to be fixed, controlled, or mastered. Life is to be experienced fully and without reservation. And in that experience, we find our true freedom. We find peace not in what we do, but in who we are, in the simplicity of being alive. As you walk away from this journey, remember that Zen is not a one-time lesson. It's a continuous practice, a daily commitment to being present, to embracing life as it is, and to letting go of the need to control or resist. The real transformation happens in the everyday moments, in the smallest of actions, in the quiet spaces between thoughts. The final practice of Zen is this: to live each day with awareness, with presence, and with gratitude. To wake up each morning with the knowledge that this moment, this breath, this life is all we truly have. And when we live like this, we live fully, freely, and with a deep sense of peace. This is the essence of awakened living. It is simple, it is profound, and it is waiting for you in every moment if you choose to embrace it.